Welcome back, everybody, to another tier list video. This time we're going to be focusing on trilogies. I'm going to give you my general opinion on these trilogies, and if I haven't seen it, it'll probably go in the haven't seen section, but these are the choices we have. We have all three are legendary. Most are pretty good. Flaws can be looked past. There is something good, but it's mostly bad. They're all trash, and then obviously they haven't seen. And there are absolutely a few in here that I have not seen, or maybe have seen one of them and not the rest of them. And so, yeah, let's just jump into the tier list and see where we end up. And starting off big with Star Wars, this specific trilogy had its good moments, I think, but I was never really invested in the Rey storyline. And honestly, when it comes to Star Wars, I'm personally sick of Rebels versus the Empire kind of thing. I wish it would go either into a new generation of Jedi and Sith, or I wish that it would go back in the past and focus on the way things were with like Sith, like how the Sith culture was and how Jedi's used to be. Because I mean, a good example of a game that does Star Wars really well was the Star Wars: The Old Republic. I felt like they did a really good job. You start off as an acolyte. There's a lot of like interesting stories between, and it's just really interesting as you play through the game. You get a really good grasp on Sith culture and Jedi culture as well, actually. So I kind of wish it'd go more that direction. I recall in, what is it, Knights of the Old Republic, I think it was the first one, there was like a Sith that would like hold himself together. Like every bone in his body was shattered and he's literally holding himself together with the Force. I just kind of wish I had focused more on that stuff, because they've been doing like the Rebels and Empire thing for way too long. And I kind of just want to move the story along. So, but this wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible, but I just kind of wish it was a little better. The Narnia series, I'd put this as, it's got some good stuff and it's got some bad stuff. I want to say I've seen all of them. I've definitely seen two of them. I don't know if I've seen the third one. And again, it's, not bad, but it's also not amazing in my opinion. It's not one that I actually focused on too much. So I'm going to put it here. The Rush Hours were pretty good. I'd say it's middle tier as well. The movies were obviously like family classics, but it's not my go-to. It's a good comedy martial arts series, but it's not my go-to for martial arts movies in general. But it's mid-tier. I actually liked it. Lord of the Rings, I'm going to put this as all three were legendary. I would say, though, that I liked the second one better, or the first and the second better than the last. I kind of felt it ended a little flat at some parts when it comes to like the big battle at the end of this. But overall, I think that the entire series has solidified its position as one of the best series of all time. Definitely worth the S tier level in the trilogy tier list. Batman Dark Knight is probably by far my favorite Batman out of all the Batmans. I love all of the Batmans, but Dark Knight is by far my favorite. And then the Arkham series, like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and I can't remember what the last Arkham game was called. I own it though. What is it? Arkham. I think it's called Arkham Knight. I've actually beaten all of them, and again, it's very much the Dark Knight series. I fucking love it. It's going to go in S tier for sure. It's almost really hard because I'd be tempted to put it above Lord of the Rings. I'm going to leave it here for now. All three are good. Growing up as a kid, this was probably my favorite Star Wars trilogy of all time. A lot of you people might think less of me because of that, because I mean, a lot of people shit on these. They don't like Jar Jar Binks. They don't like Anakin Skywalker. but there's so many memes on the third movie of you were the chosen one, or Annie, you broke my heart, or you're breaking my heart, and then he goes and kills her anyway. Like there's a lot of like silly shit, but at least when it comes to like Jedi, Sith, Rebels, and Empire, there's a consistency. I really enjoyed the characters themselves. The fights were cool. You got a really badass Yoda. You got to see Yoda fight for a change. You got to see Palpatine in all of its different political stages through Emperor stages. You got to see Darth Vader come into existence. And honestly, even though the lava scene is the biggest meme ever, I still loved it. Killing younglings using cool technologies like the I don't know what the Jar Jar Binks' race is called, but essentially they have like those balls, like they're super primitive, but they're like electrical balls that they throw at the droids. It shows the droids and how inept they were, and they're kind of goofy and comical. I don't know. I just everything about this, and then Order 66, all that stuff. I actually sat and watched episode 1, I think 3 or 4 times in a row as a kid when I was in junior high. So I'm personally going to say it's S tier in my opinion. Madagascar, I have seen all the Madagascars, but I am not a fan of this series. There's some good, but it's mostly bad. You know, I'm gonna say it's in here. It's some good, and then I might actually move Rush Hour up one. I'd say that's a little closer to what my I think this would be a little bit closer to how I would actually organize it. I might even consider moving this one up one, but for now, this is how it's going to be. I'm going to leave it as it is. These ones are pretty good. What the hell is this series called? I can't read that. Hang on. What is this? The Naked Gun. Oh boy, I haven't seen. Okay, so I haven't seen Naked Gun in a long time. I would honestly say Naked Gun. Like I haven't seen these since I was a kid living at my parents' house, but I have seen them. I'll put them in like the same tiers like Rush Hour kind of thing. Austin Powers. There's no movies like it. I mean, I find that television has kind of gotten a little stale for the most part. Like there's just a lot of the same. Whereas Austin Powers, and I mean Goldmember, can't remember if Goldmember was the one with Fat Bastard or if it was the second one, but I'm pretty sure it was Goldmember. But either way, like name a movie that's like Austin Powers. It's just so unique. I mean, same with Naked Gun, but like it's just so funny. I love it. I want to make sure my kids are not going to grow up not knowing what Austin Powers is. Back to the Future, S tier as well. Not a single bad movie. I love every single one of them. If you don't know what Back to the Future is, you're living under a rock. And I like how they all connect to, and I like the consistency of it. Yeah, it's just a really good, like, again, another show that I would not let my kids not grow up knowing. Blades are pretty good. I would put Blade closer to this. There's some bad moments, but there's also a lot of good, and it has probably one of the best techno songs ever. So, the thing that I have a hard time liking about Blade is like you get the vampires and they like split their lip down the middle and they open up. I find that's a kind of goofy looking vampire in my opinion, but Blade itself is really cool. Apparently, Wesley Snipes was a really difficult person to act with during those movies. Men in Black, I would again say they're mostly good and higher than Rush Hour for sure. I don't think I've watched any of the Men in Blacks with my kids, but I feel like this is a series that I would introduce to them. Definitely really good and also extremely unique. I would definitely throw that in the mostly good section. Hangovers, not bad. It's good for what it was. It's definitely higher than like Narnia and stuff, in my opinion. So I'd probably put it somewhere along there. It's a decent comedy. It's funny. There's some good parts, some bad parts. The Evil Dead series. So it's like a horror that slowly turned into a comedy and then eventually get to Army of Darkness. Personally, I would say that yes, it's worth watching all of them. But in all honesty, the only one that I give a shit about is Army of Darkness. With Bruce Campbell is probably like my favorite B-rated movie actor of all time. So I would put him. I wouldn't put the whole trilogy. There's some good and mostly bad. I'm gonna put this as a high mid tier, but in all honesty, these two don't matter to me as much as the Army of Darkness. There's so many quotes like "I've got a bone to pick with you," or "This is my boomstick," or you've got "Hail to the King, baby." Like there's just so many good things. Klaatu, Verata. If you know, you know. The Godfather. I have not really seen, like I've watched Scarface and I've watched those kind of movies and I've seen The Godfather. Um, I'm just gonna throw it in haven't seen because I can't really have a real opinion on this series because I'm not. It's just not something I would typically watch, and I don't really remember very many moments in any of it. So, The Matrix, we are gonna put this up with like, I'd say we're gonna put it. I don't know. I just like Star Wars, and I kind of like. I'm gonna put Matrix. Um, below Men in Black. And the reason why I'm putting it below Men in Black is because one, it's super complicated, and it's not like it's epic at times, but it's super complicated. You really have to pay attention to it. And in all honesty, Men in Black just the style of the movie itself. It's funnier, it's interesting, it's unique. There's just a lot of cool aspects to Men in Black, and there's a lot of cool aspects to this, but it's like a lot of people I would say would remember these two movies less than the first one. The first one's really memorable, but these other two are not as memorable. The Hobbits, I'm definitely gonna put that as S tier. Um, but does it beat all these other ones? I'm gonna put this one further back. They were really good, but I've watched these ones substantially less, and I don't know. It took me a while to get used to how the dwarves looked in The Hobbit, but did it do a good job? Absolutely. Bourne series, I'm just gonna say I haven't seen. I actually downloaded the first Bourne Identity, and I have not been able to get through this series without falling asleep. So I'm just gonna put it as I haven't seen because I can't. Every time I try to watch it, I just pass out. I'm not a Western fan by any means, and I had probably have seen these, but I can't say that I have. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is pretty good. I would say Indiana Jones is kind of. I would say, out of respect, it's probably here, mostly good. And I don't think it's better than any of these movies at all. But I find Army of Darkness, if I could put just Army of Darkness anywhere, Army of Darkness would be S tier. The X-Men trilogy. So I got. Is this like X-Men? Okay, yeah. So we do have the originals. Oh, I would say this is mostly good, but with some flaws. And I would have to put this above. This is tough. Because, like, I thought Logan was good, but it was really slow. I thought the Wolverine was good, but I didn't like the setting as much. And then X-Men Origins wasn't bad. I personally would probably put this above the Matrix in my opinion. And hmm. Oh man, this is tough. For a series, for a trilogy, I would put this above the Matrix. I'd say it's probably around there somewhere. Mostly good, but has some things that I'm not the biggest fan of. Jurassic Parks were good, but I didn't watch the last one as much as the first two. Um, and honestly, like in my personal opinion, dinosaurs aren't as interesting to me. But I did love this. I watched it a million times growing up. I will probably put Jurassic Park if I had to say personal interest, like right here. What is this? Oceans series is good. Um, didn't really watch it a lot. You know what? I'm gonna put Oceans as like I haven't watched because honestly, I can't think of like any scene in the movie that stands out in my mind. So I'm just gonna put it in the haven't seen. Iron Mans are absolutely right up there. I'd say probably something like that. What do we got? The X-Men's. X-Men's are top tier as well. I freaking love the X-Men's. Last Stand was actually really good in my opinion. Did I like the X-Men's better than Iron Man? We'll go like this. I think that's probably pretty close. Love the X-Men series. Love Spider-Man too. But not every Spider-Man was amazing. There was a lot of really odd moments. But I would say I like Spider-Man more than Star Wars for sure. Um, I'm gonna move Blade down, and I'm gonna move Blade down, and I'm gonna move Blade down. I'm gonna switch it a little bit like that, and then we're gonna go like this as well. I feel like this is looking a little bit better when it comes to movies that I liked. We're getting close to the end of this. So we have got the original Star Wars. The original Star Wars was okay, but I didn't like it anywhere close to what these three were. I'm probably going to put it above Rush Hour. Because, like, honestly, the original Star Wars wasn't the thing that got me into Star Wars in the first place. It was actually these ones. These ones got me into Star Wars. Again, these ones felt a little slow. But did I like it better than Blade? I don't know. I think Blade's just cool in general. Where would I put Star Wars? I like the newer one better than these ones. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna leave it there. It's mostly good for the most. And then Captain America, Civil War, and Captain America. What's the title of this one? The Winter Soldier. Captain America's were good. Again, Marvel movies just do a really good job, and these are like the originals. I didn't like Captain America as much as X-Men, though. So I think this is a pretty good representation of movies that I know in order of how I would watch them. There are some that are kind of like hit and miss. Like I'm not entirely sure if I would 100% say that Star Wars would stay here. And I'm also not 100% sure if I'd keep Jurassic Park there either. But I'm just not into dinosaurs as much. I watched all of Blade, but I didn't like hardcore watch it, whereas I watched Jurassic Park a lot more. Star Wars, I think, is great overall, but there's just a lot of things that I didn't like about the originals compared to, say, 1, 2, and 3. And these ones did have a lot of problems too, but I liked, I guess, what they were doing in it. Like, especially at the end where it's like Palpatine and he like has like a million like destroyers and shit and he's getting resurrected. Like, I don't know. There's just some really good things and really bad things. Love to hate Star Wars. Overall, I think this is a pretty good list. If you guys disagree or agree, let me know in the comments. Let me know if there's any kind of trilogies that I may have missed. But I think this is a pretty good interpretation of like what I'm interested in. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs. So yeah, that'll help out a lot. And we'll catch you in the next one, guys. See ya. Peace.